Today we are going to wrap that tailgate in Avery matte OD green. We're going to show you how. Check it out. I have just a little starter piece right here. I'm going to stick it right there because I'm by myself so that I can just pull the backing and strip it right down the vehicle. From this side, we're going to take and we're going to give it just a little bit of a stretch and glass it out. Now down here, I've got a little extra, and the reason I have extra is a fresh roll, and I didn't want to use the part that had the tape on it from the factory. So just a little extra there. And we go like that. Beautiful. Hook that little corner. And we're gonna lift it and move it around a little bit here, but we're just gonna start by making sure we're pretty good across the board here. I like to wet my squeegees just a fuzz. Now starting on this one, I'm sure you guys saw in the first part of the video here, we cleaned it, and then because of where we live, there's a lot of gunk that flies up on the back. So we clay barred the whole back of this thing, cleaned it up really nicely, and made sure that we had a good surface before we start laying this down. Otherwise, the goal is honestly you have to have it about as paint ready as possible. That's really where you want to be at. If it looks paint ready, it's wrap ready. Now you see I set the top, this bottom section runs like this, all right? So on this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the center, then I'm going to lift this, feed that in, and then the word Tacoma is indented. So we're going to finish that out nice and clean. Up top here, I've just got to this section here, and then we're going to pull it out. I don't want to just heat necessarily and sink it into there. I'm going to feed it into that a little bit. And that's why I gave us some extra up top. So we're just going to feed it right in. That way we're not overstretching the vinyl. And because it's a matte finish, I'm trying to be really careful with glove versus squeegee. I have a good new tri-edge squeegee with a new buffer, but I just like to be really careful when we're running matte finishes so that we just don't get any little fine scratches. So a glove works really well. And it's fast. It works once you get good at it. Using a glove is pretty darn quick. So here you're gonna see I'm lifting it and I'm feeding it. So instead of having like a tent, right? From here to here, that vinyl's tight, and I could push and feed it in, and I can totally do it at this point. From down there, I didn't really want to do it. But I can feed it in, and I don't get any difference in the stretch. So the adhesive is nice and consistent. I didn't stretch the adhesive out. My chances of any issues or popping or overstretching a matte finish can gloss it out. You overstretch it, it glosses, and then I don't have that finish that I'm looking for. So I'm trying to keep a consistent color across the board on this whole thing, which just, if I do it like I'm doing it, we'll have no failures, number one, and two, the consistency of the color is what we want. So that's why I lift it up and go back in, lift it up, go back in. So this is a wrap glove. These are made for a group of guys, all members of Masters of Branding, or the mob. There's about, I think, 60 of us in the world. Phenomenal group of guys that all work together to better the industry and better each other on a daily basis. And I was fortunate enough to be invited to be a member of that group, and they're awesome. They're awesome guys. They've taught me a lot over the years. We've worked together. And just great in our industry with technically it being such a new industry, I mean, even though it's a couple decades old, I mean, compared to a lot of things, that's pretty new. And I'm just gonna go at a little bit of an angle like this, and then short blade, right up against that top edge. And I'm gonna stop right over here. Same thing, and go up at a little bit of an angle. So now we can take this and we can lay this down in there, but we'll do that once we get past this section and we can open the tailgate. So now that we're right to this section, I'm just gonna feed it down in here. So again, there's a little bit of a gap here, and I'll show you guys. So a little bit right here where this drops down, and then it's gonna hit that Tacoma. So I'm just gonna feed it in, and you'll see I'm gonna feed this center section first, all the way down, and I'm moving to the outside. So one of the big things is you're working with vinyl, you always want to feed one direction. Got a little bubble. You want to feed out and out. Never feed vinyl. Technically, not technically, if you go like this with your squeegee this way and this way, you're pulling vinyl, and you could create bunching. So always move your vinyl to the outsides, unless you're trying to feed vinyl to an area to have extra. But we're not doing that here. So now we are right to where we're at our letters. Nice and clean. And you'll notice I gave a little bit of pull at the very beginning. I stretched it just a fuzz so that all this vinyl is just nice and clean, right? We don't have any bunching. And we've always moved it outward, which makes a big difference as well. So now that we're here, we're gonna heat and roll these. And this is a V-Cat. There's other tools out there. It's just foam on a roller, but by 3M. This one works great. I would love to make my own, because anybody that's a rapper knows this, I don't know, it's a couple $100, $200, $300, I don't know. Whatever it is, it's too expensive, but it is what it is. So now I'm just gonna make sure I'm kind of down tight here and I don't pull up funny. Overlapping the whole time. That way I get all of this nice and tight. You'll notice when I'm heating it, I'm giving it a little bit of heat from a little ways away, because again, with this matte finish, if I was to heat it up too much, it will gloss it. Also, as I'm going through here, you'll notice I'm working this direction. I didn't set any of this. I'm leaving this stuff loose. So as we're going this way, I'm continuing that direction so we always have a place for the air to go. Otherwise, you're gonna trap it in there, get a big bubble, and that won't do anybody good. Now, I like to find where the edge is. So I start in a good spot. And just work all the way down, overlapping. Make sure everything's tight. Sometimes that little corner, I catch one right there, which is also why we don't set the whole thing, because I can take it, pull up, and make sure that's set super clean. There we go. The little T. Beautiful. Now I can just take all of this And just a little heat, let it all relax. I'm just going to set this bottom. I hooked on that corner. I'm going to come along the back side. Now this edge, you're going to want to get that in there nice and clean. I'm going to get rid of as much of the vinyl right here as I can. That's why we remove the lights, etc. Just make the process a little bit smoother and a little bit easier to start. There we go. And here, I can cut short blade. This is cutting on the back side or the empty face where there isn't, we're not cutting on paint, we're not jeopardizing the vehicle, which is important. There we go. Good and clean. Then down here, I'm using end of my finger and I'm tucking it in, the nail inside this glove. I loosen it up and I'm just wrapping it around that edge with my finger so that even though I don't have a bunch of room, I can cut on the back side and continue having the overlap around the edge. And we're gonna go like that. Get the tailgate set up here to where I can open it. So we're going to finish this and then trim out the tailgate. There's two little guys right here. You see these? They latch to both sides, so you pull inward, pull to the left, pull to the right, allows you to open it up. There we go. Now we'll step and repeat on the other side.